Et salut tout le monde, aujourd'hui je reçois Joaquin de Taiko Labs. How are you?
Very good. How are you?
Very good. I'm very, very happy to have you because I'm a big fan of Bates Rollup. Just before everything, can you introduce yourself, what you've done in the past, and what brings you to build Taiko?
Sure. So I'm Joaquin. I'm the COO of Taiko, which stands for Chief Operations Officer. I take care of driving the strategy, business strategy for Taiko, alongside other less interesting stuff regarding with pure operations. Before Taiko, I've been working for Taiko for a year and a half, a little bit more than that. Before that, I was helping on the BD efforts to Polygon Labs for around a year and a half too. I've been around the crypto space for much longer, but not working professionally, just trading and stuff. I used to work before Polygon on the corporate work. I did strategic consultancy on operational and technological risks for financial institutions. So what brought me to and Taiko overall is essentially, so to crypto, I used to work with financial institutions and fintech, and I saw how there were so many inefficiencies that crypto could fix, and of course, crypto doesn't all blockchain doesn't only fix stuff on financial side, but it actually taught me that there was better ways of doing stuff. What brought me into Taiko is that it's the most Ethereum aligned solution. And I actually believe the architecture of Taiko is the future of Ethereum. So I when I learned about it, I just tried to get into the team, and I was lucky enough to get it.
Okay, I see. Can you explain a bit what is Taiko? Very basic, what is Taiko and what's the North Star, the goal at the end?
I'll do it high level, and maybe later we can deep dive. Taiko is the first based rollup on Ethereum, so it's a layer 2 scaling solution on Ethereum, but it's completely different to any other layer 2 that exists on the market. Taiko is a long-term bet for Ethereum. The other layer 2 solutions, I like to say, is more of a short-term bet, which is good and necessary, but Taiko is the long-term one. So the North Star of Taiko, I would say, is bringing Ethereum to the masses without adding any extra security assumption.
What's the cons and pros? Because you use the sequencer of Ethereum. First, can we explain that? Because I think a lot of people doesn't get, like, you use a sequencer from Ethereum. How does it work? Can everyone validate Taiko?
Yeah, that's a very good question. That's the main differentiator. So if you compare Taiko with the rest of the rollups, the rest of the rollups have taken, I would say, a shortcut to make their user experience better, and I will explain why I'm saying this when you ask me about the pros and cons, right? So essentially, what we're doing is we are using Ethereum as a sequencer. Ethereum validators are actually sequencers. Sorry, that's my dog barking.
No problem.
It's okay. So essentially, what the other rollup teams are doing, they have a centralized sequencer. Why? Because with a centralized sequencer, you can guarantee to your users a very fast user experience. You can pre-confirm transactions in a few seconds or even milliseconds if you optimize it, because it's completely centralized. You can actually know what's going to happen, how the next block is going to look like. You cannot have that with a base rollup because you rely on Ethereum validators. That's exactly what base means. Base means we don't have a centralized sequencer, but rather Ethereum layer 1 validators are the ones that sequence the transactions on the layer 2 on Taiko. So we pros and cons, right? So we essentially, by having this design, we are truly leveraging the decentralization properties of Ethereum, the liveness properties of Ethereum, the credible neutrality, which is awesome, right? If you have a centralized sequencer, essentially you have a single point of failure. The credible neutrality is limited because it's one party, one hardware, one decision maker, essentially deciding how the block is going to look like. And as we all know, the order of the transactions within the block, the MEV that you can extract is super relevant, is very, very, very important. And again, on the security side of things, if it all depends on one hardware, it's a problem, right? But on the other hand, there's some cons, right, of being base sequence. We need to essentially leverage the block time of Ethereum. So the minimum waiting time that users have right now, as of today, on Taiko is 12 seconds, and it's actually in practice is actually more. I will explain why. But that's a problem that you don't have with a centralized sequencer. If you use Arbitrum or Optimism, for example, you can realize it's super fast, right? Even though it's an optimistic rollup that usually takes 7 days to actually finalize transactions, they get pre-confirmed in milliseconds, right? But they are trading security and decentralization for that. We are not trading that, and we have in the roadmap some solutions that will get us to the same UX, but with a much higher level of decentralization, credible neutrality, and liveness properties.
Okay, yeah, we go on this after. I just wonder, how does that work from Ethereum validator? Can everyone participate? Do they have slashing things? Are you working with eigenlayer or things like this?
So from a proposing or sequencing standpoint, in order to propose blocks on Taiko, you as a base rollup, you need to be an Ethereum, right? You cannot. So essentially, it's like the word is permissionless. Anyone can be a proposer on Taiko, but because it's a base rollup, you also need to be you need to participate on the staking on Ethereum. That's the TLDR. Let's put it that way, which means essentially we can be as decentralized as Ethereum, right? But we need to make it profitable, right? Because it doesn't mean that every single validator of Ethereum is automatically a proposer of Taiko. They need to run Taiko software, and they need to want to run Taiko software, right? When you mention the collaboration with Eigenlayer, it's not specifically the case. So the slashing conditions that happen is the same ones as for validating and proposing is the same ones that Ethereum has. That's the property of base rollups. But I don't know if we want to talk about pre-confirmations already. That's when you add another layer of slashing conditions that you mentioned, right? But pre-confirmations is I would say it's another story. It's basically making this UX problem that Taiko has, right? Fixing it, but it's a different story than the regular proposing of blocks of Taiko.
Yeah, but just one small question. If a validator is lying or something like this, are they slash in if or in Taiko?
So, and the current architecture that we have, so that when there's different elements here, right? When the Ethereum validator proposes the Taiko block to Ethereum, they participate as an Ethereum validator. So, but instead of proposing Ethereum transactions, they are making something more complex, which is proposing a complete rollup, a complete Taiko block. But it happens the same with other rollups. So there, they will be facing the conditions, the slashing conditions of Ethereum if they not behave properly. But if you go if you step into within the Taiko network, right? there's proposers and provers. The proposers, as we mentioned, are the same as the Ethereum layer 1 validators if they want to chime in into the Taiko network. The provers are exclusive to the Taiko network. So essentially, the provers are the one that generates either the CK proof or the SGX proof. We have a multi-proof system in place for security. There, you essentially have a bonding mechanism. The proposer will select the next prover to prove the block that they will propose. The prover will have to put a bond, which is essentially, it works like a slashing mechanism, right? They put a bond. If they don't fulfill the requirement of proving the block on time, the block that has been assigned to them, they will be slashed. And that slashing happens on Taiko, you know, and on Taiko tokens. So there's actually a kind of like a utility for the Taiko token within the Taiko network. But then when the block goes to Ethereum, everything happens on Ethereum, and the slashing conditions that apply are the Ethereum mechanics for that.
Okay, yeah, that's clear. And yeah, let's talk about pre-confirmation. I'm really excited about this. Can you explain really simply that to someone? Like basic?
Sure. I'll try to keep it as basic as possible. So as I mentioned before, one of the main drawbacks of being a base rollup is that we leverage the minimum the 12-second time block of Ethereum. And that's and there's nothing we can do to change about it, because the layer 1 validators are essentially proposing the blocks at the cadence of Ethereum. So you don't have that problem with the centralized sequencer that can pre-confirm transactions, but again, you have the problem that is completely centralized. What we're going to do with pre-confirmation, or better called based pre-confirmations, is essentially we're going to have the features of the centralized sequencer rollups, which means almost instant pre-confirmation of transactions. Is going to be milliseconds, but in a decentralized manner. How is this going to work? So essentially, TLDR, right? There will be, as I mentioned before, new slashing mechanisms. So there will be a gateway that the proposers of the validators can choose to implement into their software, right? And they will essentially put some funds on staking, right? And those funds on staking is essentially the economic promise that they will include the transactions that get sent by Taiko or by any base rollup, that they will include it into a certain order. So they're basically making the pre-confirmation promise that those transactions will be included in the next block, right? Even though in practice, they haven't been included yet. If they don't fulfill their promise, they will get slashed. All right. So they have the original slashing mechanisms of Ethereum, which is what everyone knows. But then on top of that, they will be making an extra promise of that they will include a certain amount of transactions into the next block. And if they don't fulfill the promise, they will be slashed. So it's actually economically secure. Any validator can actually opt in and run this extra software, right? So it's permissionless, and we will see if it's also decentralized. But considering that, I forgot to say that the user will have to pay a small tip, for this validator. So considering it will be economically profitable to run these pre-confirmations, we expect that many of the validators will choose to also offer this service, right? And apart from permissionless, it will also be very decentralized, as many validators chime in.
Okay. And do you think you can still be competitive with, centralized layer 2, like Base or something like this?
Competitive in the terms of price
fees.
or user experience?
Fees. No. Yeah, fees.
Fees, right? So that's a very good question, right? it is not clear yet whether, at least to the extent of my knowledge, it is not clear yet whether pre-confirmations will make things more expensive, right, for the user. Because on the one hand, if you think about it, and it's open to reflection, right? On the one hand, users will have to pay a tip, right? Which again, it makes things more expensive, right? But on the other hand, it will make the use of the Ethereum blob space much more efficient. And let me explain why. So I mentioned before that we leverage all the 12 seconds of Ethereum, but that right now on Taiko, the user experience, the transactions takes even more than 12 seconds. And I will explain why is that and why pre-confirmations change that and make it more economically efficient. So we are essentially we have different proposers, all right, community proposers that chime in and they propose blocks. That's why it's decentralized. But we also, as Taiko, we run one proposer, right? That essentially proposes blocks on a fixed cadence every X time. Why? Because if no community proposers chime in, what that could mean is that the Taiko blockchain would stop producing blocks, right? And the community proposers will only chime in if it is profitable to propose blocks, right? So only if we have a large network activity, the blocks will get full of transactions, and when they are full of transactions, there's enough fees. They will go and propose it to the Ethereum layer 1 and make a profit. If we don't have enough activity, no one will propose Taiko blocks, and that's a problem. Users could wait like 2 or 3 minutes for the transactions to get processed. So that's why we have our own proposer that I don't know exactly, because it's more complex than just a bot that do it every 30 seconds, but more or less every half a minute we propose blocks, even if it's not profitable, to ensure that there's a minimum user experience. But with pre-confirmations, since we don't have to guarantee this user experience, because the transactions will be pre-confirmed in milliseconds, we don't need to propose blocks every 20-30 seconds anymore to ensure that the users don't have to wait 3 minutes, right? So what that means is that essentially we will be sending probably less blocks to Ethereum. So we will make a more efficient use of the Ethereum space, and we will be probably paying less money to Ethereum, right? Because we will send only send the block when it's completely full of transactions and super profitable, right? Right now we need to propose every 30 seconds, because otherwise users will wait a lot of time and the user experience will be terrible and everyone will leave Taiko, right? With pre-confirmations, that is not going to happen. So we have two elements here, right? Users will have to pay a little bit more, a tip fee for the pre-confirmers, but on the other hand, we will be in a position to make a more efficient, economically efficient use of the Ethereum block space. So how is this going to play out? We don't know. So it's not super obvious that this is going to make things much more expensive for users. It could even make it cheaper. We don't know.
Okay, I didn't know. That's very interesting. And
Yeah.
I wonder what's the limit of pre-confirmation, because you need a part that is slashable in case someone doesn't include the transaction. So it needs to have a lot of economic value, right? A validator, not a validator, pre-confirmer. Like if someone want to use pre-confirmation with I don't know, $1 million, can you do?
Okay, so here we need to differentiate. There's actually two solutions in place. I'm not entirely sure of how the economics will work with the slashing mechanism, right? You always need to make sure that it is not worth for the operator to misbehave, right? So you always need to make you need to make the design in a way that the operator is disincentivized to misbehave. I'm not entirely sure how the numbers is going to look like, honestly. But what I'm entirely sure is that it is designed in a way that it disincentivizes that. There's two designs as of now that I'm aware of. There's maybe more. There's actually more, but Taiko is going to use initially two. One is it comes from Gerika team. The other one comes from Nethermind. The first one is the Gerika one is going to come earlier, potentially by the end of this month, maybe beginning of the next one. You never know, right? On the deadlines of the engineering stuff, because there's always unexpected things happening. But on the Gerika one, the main big difference between both is that on the Gerika one, anyone can be a pre-confirmer. It doesn't have to be that like the layer one validator adding another layer of slashing conditions. Actually, anyone can do it. Anyone can stake some amount of collateral, right? And to the contract, and they can build Taiko blocks, right? By also giving pre-confirmations to users. So it's not tied to the Ethereum network. Anyone can do it. On the economic side of things, which was your question, I'm not entirely, I cannot answer that question. I'm not sure how is the minimum requirement. I just know that is designed in a way that is not, that incentivizes to behave. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. On the Nethermind one, Nethermind one is tied to the layer one. So actually the layer one proposers are the ones that need to opt in through the contract, right? They need to stake the collateral, but they need to be also a layer one validator. So the Gerika one is a separate thing, right? It's a staking pool and not sure of the economic conditions. The Nethermind approach, which is going to come later, is actually tied to the layer one validators, and they are the ones that will have, as I explained before, this extra layer of staking. And on the economic side, I'm not sure about the numbers, honestly, but I can only tell that it's designed to work. Let's put it that way.
Okay, that's crazy because with pre-confirmation, you're just limited by the speed of light, right? You just have someone that need to confirm, and yeah, you cannot go faster, right?
Correct. I think it's. I'm not sure exactly of the amount. I think it's 200 milliseconds. So it's like yeah. Why do you need more speed? It's gonna feel like this. Yeah.
It's very exciting. Do you know when we can see that on Taiko? A timeline?
So hopefully by the end of this month, we'll have the first implementation, which is I don't want to say simpler one, but as I explained, is just different, which is the Gerika one. And the Nethermind one, it's going to take a few more months, but definitely, I mean, unless something goes super wrong, it's going to be like very soon in Q1 this year. We're super excited. I think this is really going to be a game changer, not only for the user experience on Taiko, that we acknowledge we are not blind right now. Is not good, okay, but not only because of that, but also because of the efficiency. When we build blocks, we will make building blocks, like by design, by default, profitable, because of what I explained before, right? We won't need to push blocks like sometimes empty and spend a lot of money, because some days we're spending more money than what we get from fees, right? And some other days we are profitable. It's not going to be the case anymore when pre-confirmation comes. It's a game changer for many reasons for us.
Awesome. I think a lot of people are really excited about the base rollup. I know Justin Dyke is a big fan. Yesterday I was talking with Bread, which is not a big fan. He's a bit skeptical. He likes it, but he's skeptical about people jumping, layer 2 coming and use it. What's your point? Do you think like base could become a base rollup, or do you think there is enough incentive to become base rollup?
So there is one. I of course cannot speak to the other teams and their strategic priorities. But if you ask me my opinion, right, I think there's a fundamental issue right? All these other rollups are getting so rich from the sequencing fees from the MEB, but so rich. They are like, from a business standpoint, from a business model standpoint, they keep all the fees, right, from the sequencer. In our case, being based means giving up the fees. You essentially give all the fees to the layer 1 validators, right? And we, our own proposer, our own sequencer, if you want to put it that way, we are some days we're losing money. We're not even earning. We are losing money for the sake of user experience. So from a business model standpoint, it's so different. We are here to essentially help Ethereum grow, and we actually give the value back to the validators, which makes being a validator even juicier, right? On Ethereum, we help decentralizing even more Ethereum. The others, I don't want to say it's parasitic to Ethereum, even though many people say rollups are parasitic to Ethereum. It probably means, when people say it, probably means because of that, because they keep like I don't know the percentage, but 90 plus of the fees, and they give, or even more than 90 plus in some cases, 90% plus in some cases, and they give just a few back to Ethereum. So if you ask me, I don't think they will become a base rollup, even though it could be nice for Ethereum, but I don't think it's going to happen because they will need to give up a lot of revenue.
Yeah. Okay. And do you have a stack? Because I think Puffer is doing a base rollup, and it's your stack, right?
That is correct. So I think the definition of do we have a stack? Yes and no. If by a stack, the problem with the stack is that the definition of a stack so far has been, I think the best example that everyone uses is this Optimism superchain, right? But I'm not entirely sure of the details of the business model. But as far as I know, on the OP stack, there is also a business model within all the chains that participate there. And I'm sorry if they capture a percentage of the sequencing fees, or they pay a fixed amount to the OP labs. I'm not sure exactly how it works. So if we understand stack like this business model where the rest of the chains chime in, we need to pay a fee for being there, we don't have a stack. If we understand a stack as something open source that anyone can take and build and improve, yes, we do have a stack. So, for example, Nethermind is being in Search, which is a framework for building based rollups. It's not operated in the same way like as a business as we do it. It's something completely different. But they are using the so-called Taiko stack. Puffer, for example, I'm not a developer, but I've seen, especially in crypto Twitter, many people saying that it has too many similarities to the Taiko code, even though they are not saying that publicly. Let's put it that way. But it seems like they have taken our code to build their base rollup. So should we consider that as part of the Taiko stack? Maybe not. I don't know. What I'm trying to say here, my point here, is that we will not put roads on the block for people to build base rollups. We will not charge like a fee to others, like others are doing. We welcome everyone to take our code and to build more base rollups, because the more base rollups there are, the better for each base rollup and the better for the future of Ethereum, right? And I can also tell you something regarding the stack. It's actually not public yet, so I cannot share names, but we are working with one of the biggest names in the Ethereum ecosystem on security to essentially, I don't want to say build a stack, but okay, let's say it that way, to build a Taiko stack. But again, not in the parasitic way or in the business model way, just to essentially put together the brains of the Taiko developers, which are quite nice, and the brains of this particular project, put them together and make the Taiko code overall stronger and make it more attractive to use it and to build using our code. It's going to be announced very soon, but because it's not, there's some things that are still under paperwork, I cannot disclose exactly the name, but it's going to happen.
Awesome. Okay, awesome. And it's been like 2 months. I receive Mathieu from Spire. I wonder if you're close to them. They're doing a stack, but more app specific. Are you working with them, or are you close to them, something like that?
So I'm not entirely sure. I know we as base rollup developers, we appreciate each other's work. I'm not entirely sure if from a development standpoint, because I'm not on the dev side, we are working together on improving the base rollup stack. I know the guys are doing quite a good job on the base rollup framework and evangelizing the concept of base rollup and teaching the world. I'm not sure if they are participating on the pre-confirmations as well, but there's certain things that happen completely open source, like the pre-confirmations effort is an effort of Taiko, but also the Ethereum Foundation, also other projects, and potentially Spire Labs too. I'm not sure. On the internal development, I guess we don't sit down every day with each other, but both our codes are open source, and I'm pretty sure that we use each other's advancements to improve, and we are open to that, and we embrace that approach instead of the closed source development.
That's awesome. And I always wonder something. It's hard to know really when you ask on Google. Is an atomic synchronous composability with Ethereum, because you have the same sequencer. So is this possible?
Right. Yes, it is possible. Actually, but it is possible, but it is possible in the future, but it's not possible today. So the conditions to have synchronous composability, not only with Ethereum, but also with between rollups, in this case between base rollups, is to have a shared sequencer. That's the first condition, but you also need instant CK proofs, right? So that's exactly the assumption that the Gwyneth team, Gwyneth is an arm of Taiko, is part of our team, but it's like the arm of Taiko that works on more breakthrough technology, right? So it's exactly what they are exploring. They are exploring a base rollup with synchronous composability with Ethereum. So yes, a shared sequencer is one, but you also need instant CK proofs, which we don't have yet. We may have instant TEE, which could be like a training wheels to try this synchronous composability, but it's not as secure, let's say, as CK proofs. So it is possible, but it is not here yet.
I think Justin said that we are waiting for ZK hardware, ASICs. Do you get some news about this? When can we see that?
Oh, I have no idea. I wish I had the news. I know. I also heard Justin Drake saying that, but I cannot share dates because I have no idea.
Yeah, I tried. Let's talk a bit about Gwyneth. It's really exciting. So, can you talk about Gwyneth, because it's not really you? Is it you?
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's part of Taiko. I cannot. I cannot get into much detail on the tech side. I can give you the overview what we're trying to pursue, and I think it's quite exciting too. So as I mentioned before, we have two rollups, right? We have the Taiko mainnet right now, and Gwyneth will be a separate mainnet. Okay. Taiko mainnet is a base rollup that is usable today with the current technology, with the current CK proofs, SGX proofs, and the current validator setup. We have the Taiko mainnet that is usable right now. Taiko Gwyneth is the kind of like more complex design that requires some assumptions that are not ready yet. So the main difference between both, I would say, is that Taiko Gwyneth requires, in order to function, this instant proof generation, because Taiko Gwyneth by design will be synchronous composable with Ethereum and with other base rollups. So Taiko Gwyneth will be, I'm not entirely sure of the dates, but it seems like the testnet will be ready pretty soon, like in a matter of weeks. So we'll be able to test this synchronous composability on testnet, but the mainnet is dependent on this feature, on this hardware, ASIC hardware advancements that Justin Drake was mentioning, that will essentially allow to have this instant proof generation. There is another feature that I wanna talk about Gwyneth, which is the I'm not sure if it's called exactly layer 1 call, but essentially it is designed in a way that the rollup is able to read directly the smart contracts from the layer 1 and execute them on the layer 2. What does it mean? It means that to put one example, you can execute, so Uniswap, right? Uniswap is not on Taiko, okay? But Uniswap is on Ethereum, right? So if you're able to read the smart contract on Ethereum of Uniswap, you will be able to execute that code on the layer 2, right? So Gwyneth will be able to access, the applications from it's like scaling the layer 1 directly. Like you deploy once and you scale it everywhere because you can access the code there. You don't have to redeploy everything on every single rollup like the teams are having to do as of today. So that's another cool feature of Gwyneth. But again, the mainnet is still uncertain.
So if they are reading the code from layer 1, are they influenced by the GUI or not at all?
Sorry?
For the fees of Gwyneth, is it influenced by Ethereum GUI? Or not at all?
I'm not entirely sure if there's a big difference between the Taiko mainnet and the Taiko Gwyneth regarding that specifically, but every rollup is influenced by the fees of Ethereum, because as I mentioned in the beginning, there is a moment when all the transactions that happen in the rollup will have to be compressed and sent to the layer 1, and that's where the proposer gets or not gets profitable. You need to you basically, the profitability of the proposer that at the end of the day translates into how much the Taiko users need to pay comes from two factors, right? How much fees the Taiko block has, how much fees is the proposer going to capture from all the transactions that have happened in that block, and then they have to make two payments: one payment to the prover to generate the proof, and one payment to Ethereum because of the data availability. And that's essentially, it depends on the price of the weight of Ethereum. If the price is too high, and you can see it on Taiko, right? If you go to Taiko Explorer, when the price of Ethereum is too high, you will see that there's only one proposer proposing blocks on Taiko, which is ours, right? Because we are willing to lose money. But when Ethereum is very, 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 very cheap, you will see that there's a lot of proposers chiming in, because one of the two payments that they have to make is so low that it's very easy for them to make a profit. So at the end of the day, both Taiko mainnet and Taiko Gwyneth is affected in some sense by the price of the gas on Ethereum.
So are you using call data? Because I thought you're using blobs, which are separate market from GUI.
Both. We are using both call data and blobs. So essentially, because the blobs sometimes we have seen are more expensive than call data, and we expect and we hope that the blob limit will expand in order to fit the new demand. There's more demand. But since that hasn't happened yet, there are some days that the blobs are more expensive. So we have both options enabled for the proposer to choose, and they will do whatever is cheaper.
Yeah. Okay. So just for making clear for people listening, Gwyneth is like a real extension from L1. So you can use L1, but on the roll-up. But what will be the difference from the price? Like if it's $5 on Ethereum, how much could it be on Gwyneth? Do you have an average?
So Gwyneth is going to work the same way. So okay, we need to differentiate the execution. Okay, it will be an extension for execution, but it will still work as a roll-up. So that what it means is that there will be still this batching mechanism of transactions. So it will be much cheaper than Ethereum, because you are able to access the smart contract on the layer 1 and execute it, but the transaction, the execution happens on the layer 2, and there will still be the building of layer 2 blocks that gets sent to the layer 1 as one transactions, instead of executing like imagine, right, if we send a block that is composed of 1,500 transactions. If we do those 1,500 transactions on Ethereum, oh my god, that's super expensive. That's why rollups exist. So in Gwyneth, it's going to be exactly the same. The transactions will be executed on the layer 2 and will be built as a rollup on the layer 2 and will be sent to Ethereum as one transaction. So it's going to be as cheap as the rest of the rollup. If you ask me about the details of the cents that it's going to cost, I have no idea, honestly. but I can tell you that because it's an extension of the layer 1, it doesn't mean that they leverage the price of the layer 1. It works as a rollup, so it's gonna be cheaper.
Awesome. So how does it look like from user experience? Maybe you can't say, but I just want to what's your point of view? Like if I go on Uniswap, do I have to use Gwyneth, or does it, or maybe there is a world where everything is already done in back end, like we never use Ethereum but only Gwyneth, if it can call
So I'm not sure how it's going to look, because that also needs to be kind of like decided by every team. The idea is that if Uniswap add the Gwyneth or the Taiko extension, like you can connect to Polygon or you can connect to other chains, it means that you can connect to Gwyneth, but instead of having a version of Uniswap deployed on Gwyneth, it will be the same smart contracts that are deployed on Ethereum. And this is quite relevant. Maybe not so relevant for the user, because the user won't realize, which is ideal, but it is relevant for the developers, right? When an application on Ethereum needs to redeploy on other chains, they have several options, but in a nutshell, they have two options, right? They can go to a type 1, which is Taiko, and there's no code changes. Three options, right? They can go to Gwyneth, which essentially they don't have to redeploy. They can just they don't have to do anything. They don't need to do anything. Gwyneth just plugs in, and they don't even know. They can go to a type 1 rollup, which is like Taiko. I didn't mention it before, but type 1 is this taxonomy that Vitalik made from type 1 to type 4. Type 1 means we are Ethereum equivalent, which essentially for developers mean you can use exactly the same code and deploy it on Taiko. It will work out of the box. You don't need to make any changes. But then if you go to type 2, type 3, type 4, you essentially get farther from Ethereum every time you go farther from the type 1, right? What that means is that, for example, Sync is a type 4, Scroll is a type 2, or I don't know if they're planning to be type 1, but whatever. Which means is that the code is not going to work out of the box. You may need to make changes to the code in order to make it work on those rollups. And that has, of course, some implications, right? Sometimes it's small changes, it's easy. Sometimes it's big changes. You even need to redo security audits, and it's a pain, right, for developers. So to answer your question, for the users, it's going to be probably and ideally so similar, very similar. They won't even find out. For developers, it's going to be much easier because for Gwyneth, they don't even have to redeploy. For Taiko, they is copy pasting and changing the RPC configuration. For the rest of the rollups, it's more changes required, that sometimes even require extra security audits and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I think yesterday I had Fuel and Megaif, and we talked about memetics because there is a part of technology and there is a part of attention with layer 2 because you are fragmented, everything. I think from this point of view, Gwyneth just extension of Ethereum, so it has the same community. It's awesome. For Taiko, what's your point of view? Because you have an amazing technology. People should be aware about the base rollup. And you have a lot of transaction I've seen on not L2Bit but Growthpie, but you don't have so much mindshare, So, what's your point of view? What's your goal?
That's a very good point, and we need to work better on this. So we have a lot of there's many ways. There's many I would say reasons why we don't have that much of mindshare. But we have a lot of transactions. We have a program that is called Trailblazers, where we essentially we try to make it fun, we try to make it competitive, and make people explore all our applications and get points and so on. It's a little bit repetitive in the last year, but it works, right? We have been able to manage to get a lot of people kind of like try our stuff, do transactions on Taiko, and earn some points, and then earn some airdrop, and it's incentivized, But at the end of the day, there is essentially two problems, right? First problem is that our key differentiator is the technology. We are. I don't want to say this like so straightforward, but I consider that base rollups is superior technology. But many people don't care about that narrative, right? What they care about is to go there and get their transaction confirmed in milliseconds and have the best user experience possible, even if it's at the cost of being centralized, right? So that's a problem because the mindshare is not that good because the user experience on Taiko is not good right now, right? And the trade-off that we have taken, which is having a worse user experience, but having the best-in-class security, decentralization, and keep up with the values of Ethereum, some people don't care about it, right? So the mindshare is not ideal. Hopefully, we have acknowledged that it's a learning process for all of us. We are trying to kind of change how we communicate, how we target our community, how we target the developers in which regions and stuff. We are actively working on that as we speak. And hopefully when pre-confirmations come, we do a better job on putting ourselves in the mouths of a lot of people.
Okay, awesome. So what's the roadmap for 2025 for Taiko?
So actually we can divide it in two. On the tech side of things, we want to get a full CK coverage. Right now we have a multi-proof system where we essentially have a SGX, which is an Intel based way of proving. Is more less robust, let's put it that way. We also have optimistic proof. We also have which is like optimistic, it's not even a fraud proof. We also have CK proofs by RiskZero and Succinct Labs. We have two kinds, but those are only required in 3% of the blocks. So we have a tier system of proofs that essentially right now only 3% of the blocks are CK proofs. So we want to make it more robust, so full CK coverage. That's one thing. Pre-confirmations, of course, is the most exciting one on the technical roadmap. We also have Gwyneth launching their testnet very soon. And also waiting for this is a whole EF collaboration effort. We also want the instant CK proof to happen in order to make both Ethereum more scalable, which will make automatically base rollups more scalable, but also make synchronous composability a reality. So that could happen on 2025. I would say that's more or less the most exciting things on the technical side. On the ecosystem side, because we will have pre-confirmations, we will be able to tackle new use cases that right now doesn't make much sense, with the current UX on Taiko. We will try to bootstrap a lot the gaming on Taiko now that the user experience will be very nice. Maybe even have some more more high-speed trading that right now is not possible. We are gonna tackle new geographies from a even communications developers standpoint. We are gonna focus a lot on Latin America as well. I am Spanish, so I think I can connect with that community, and we have some strategies behind to essentially connect with that people and other new geographies, of course. And we are also going to give up the ownership of the protocol. Right now, we own it. We are going to create a DAO, and it's going to happen this year as well. So we give up the ownership too. So there's actually many things happening in 2025. I hope we have time for all of them.
That's awesome. I just have one question. I'm not sure you can reply to this, but is Gwyneth part of the economic model of Taiko? Is it the same token, or is it different? Or
yes.
Yeah?
It's the same token. Yes.
Okay.
It's complete. Actually, the person that is leading the Gwyneth effort is Brecht, and Brecht is the co-founder of Taiko. So yes, it's part of it.
Okay. Awesome.
Same token, yeah.
Same token for all. Okay, awesome. I just have 2 more questions. First, is there a subject I didn't mention you want to talk about?
Oh, good question.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think so. I think it was quite comprehensive, and yeah. I mean, I will be glad to come back if anything like relevant new happens and have another chat with you. But so far, I think we cover almost everything.
Yeah, that would be a pleasure. Even when pre-confirmation are coming or something like this, I think people doesn't get still that it's amazing what you could do with pre-confirmation. So
it's amazing. It's amazing. Doing the same but on a decentralized manner is it's why we're here for on the blockchain space.
Yeah, exactly. The UX is going to be amazing. And I just have a question, but for Joaquin, not for Taiko. We usually ask what would be your advice to, I don't know, a young investor or just someone that want to learn about crypto? Yeah, just an advice for someone.
Okay, I would say I come from the traditional world, from the corporate world, and honestly, I think I made the change, and it was at the beginning was a hard jump, but I don't regret any second of my time in crypto. When you start learning and getting down the rabbit hole of crypto, you realize every day that you study more, you realize how cool it is, how the possibilities are endless, like truly endless, how it improves the overall user experience of everything. Like for example, on the financial side, it makes everything more efficient. If you take something and you tokenize it, like there's a lot of use case that crypto enables. We are still early, so very, very early for anyone that wants to get down the rabbit hole. Super early. Like the mass adoption is not here because the technology, let me put it this way, the technology is not ready yet. We are not scalable enough yet. User experience is not good enough yet. So we are very, very, very early for anyone that wants to join. And I invite anyone to study, reach out to me, even if he's new, and I'm on Twitter. You can DM me, and I can drive you through whatever. I love to have these crypto conversations.
That's amazing. Well, thanks a lot. Thanks for coming. Maybe see you another time. I hope
Yeah, sure.
Go for the best for Taiko.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for the invitation and the questions.
That was a pleasure. Have a good day, man. See you.
You too.